So I watched 56 2025 films this year, and I just wanted to rank them from worst to best, in my opinion. Also, I'll give a few thoughts on each. So coming in at the very bottom of the barrel, probably the worst thing that 2025 produced is Locked. Maybe the biggest waste of potential looking at casting alone. Anthony Hopkins and Bill Skarsgård are giving absolutely nothing to work with in this overall boring experience. Not interesting, dry dialogue, predictable through and through. Coming in at number 55 is War of the Worlds, the epitome of so bad it's good, bad acting, effects, editing. It truly does have it all. And even though there are some on this list that I enjoyed far less than this film, it just feels wrong to put it any higher out of principle. At number 54 is I Know What You Did Last Summer. Hacky and cheesy. I enjoyed nothing about this film, I don't think. Boring twist. It ruins a character from the original. It's just a run-of-the-mill killer, no interesting kills to remember. Yeah, I didn't know it could get worse than the original. At number 53 is Drop, a dull Blumhouse thriller, a quote-unquote mystery that throws red herring after red herring, only for the reveal to be a character we barely even knew in the first place. Unearned and cliche, and the kid in that sucks. At number 52, we have Woman in the Yard, a could-be compelling short film dragged out into a bloated attempt at a psychological thriller / maybe creature feature. Its obvious runtime padding makes this one kind of a slog to get through. Coming in at number 51 is Freaky Tales. While very stylish and shot very interestingly, using 16mm film, I think, that doesn't really save this film from what a lot of anthologies suffer from, and that is consistency with the quality. One, maybe two good portions can't save the other bad ones, topped off by a sloppy, rushed through-line story. At number 50, we have Clown in a Cornfield. My main issue with this one is the dialogue. The comedy of this film comes from generational humor, and it's just super hack and cringe. It's got a very obvious twist antagonist, and I'm pretty sure he just turns into the Joker in the end. The kills are also super boring. This just has no redeeming qualities. At number 49, we get Death of a Unicorn. While I respect them going for such an outlandish premise like this, the horror aspect didn't really land for me, making for an unserious threat and a lack of varying kills. Everybody in this movie just dies by a unicorn horn through the chest, and they beat you over the head with this movie's message. At number 48, we have Working Man. Everything this movie attempts, I think Beekeeper did better. Some interesting action, but nothing particularly stands out. The bad guys get justice, and the good guy gets their happy ending. It's that simple. At number 47, we have Megan 2.0. You could probably chalk this one up to me being a bit bitter at the genre shift. I just didn't really expect the action switch, and I think that it had a negative effect on it. It tries too hard to be an icon also. At number 46, we have Lost Lands, a film I don't think anyone's seen this year. A perfect time capsule of the mid-2000s, directing and cinematography with bad CGI to match. I don't know how they got Batista to do this, but it is very funny to watch. At number 45, we have Toxic Avenger. If I haven't watched the original, I'm sure I might have liked this one a little bit more. I just don't think it has that same charm that the original has. The over-reliance on digital blood also kind of bothered me. And the message, we've seen it a billion times then before. I think it's just kind of run out. At number 44, we have Love Hurts. While I did appreciate the martial arts element and the passion put on display by the lead actor, Ke-Huy Quan, the central idea this film was surrounded upon is inherently flawed, taking away from the entire experience. Very cool action, though. At number 43, we have Captain America Brand New World. They're still running things through the same Marvel machine, incredibly samey. The Red Hulk reveal is lackluster with limited screen time to boot. Had its moments, but bottom tier Marvel when it comes to what came out this year. At number 42, we have maybe my hottest take of this list. It's Mickey 17, and the reason it is so low for me is because I feel like this film completely wastes its premise, doing nothing noteworthy at all with its outlandish potential. There were no interesting ways that Mickey 17 died. The planet is just so boring. It just didn't land for me. Coming at number 41, we have Flight Risk. They finally made Mark Wahlberg act, and he's just a sex pervert for like 90 minutes. Run-of-the-mill action movie, though. Tight set, made for some interesting, more compact action scenes. Coming in at number 40, we have Minecraft, and I'm willing to admit that this wasn't made for me. Between the buzzwords and cliche fell into a video game world, I feel like I was just getting keys jingled in my face the whole time. At number 39, we have VHS Halloween, and this was a super big bummer for me. It was a bit of a dud this year. Some fun segments, but none really stuck with me. Coming at number 38, we have Bone Lake. This thriller, while entertaining, felt more like a smut novel. There's an addition of some things that comes off as kinks, just for the sake of being weird, I think. It's very similar to Speak No Evil. Number 37, we have Nobody 2. If you've seen the first Nobody, it's just that. I like Odenkirk and I enjoy the action, but this one doesn't break the mold. At number 36, we have Him. I was kind of expecting a boy Black Swan, but it didn't deliver on that. Protagonist felt very flat, and the evil cult leader was just super on the nose. At number 35, we have Shelby Oaks. And one thing I love that this movie did is it starts off as documentary style, but then later switches to a narrative cinematography, and that was just so cool to see. It had some good scares, some creepy ambiance, a pretty strong debut film, but it's just boring in some parts. At number 34, we have Predator Badlands, definitely the worst Predator movie to come out this year. Any semblance of cool is sapped out by the multiple comedic relief characters, a badly, and I believe unintentional, rendition of the Yautja and their culture, mocking their beliefs with teamwork. Number 33, we have Companion, a film that has a fun twist if you go in completely blind, but unfortunately everything down to the poster is a spoiler, yet the film treats the reveal as some huge revelation, not telling you until about an hour in, and it's just not Jack Quaid's best. Coming at number 32, we have Black Phone 2. While I did not enjoy the pseudo-genre shift, I do like the Grabber as a villain, and Ethan Hawke's performance just carries. At number 31, we have Hard Eyes. Seemingly intentional, cheesy dialogue, very Hallmark-like, which I think was on purpose. That's very fun. There's a lot of fun kills, very discernible killer, good fake-outs. This was pretty alright. Number 30, we have Wolfman. Blumhouse's attempt at a revision of a classic Universal monster, which just turned out bland and uninspired, lacking atmosphere. The only saving grace for this film is its impressive and surprising use of body horror. The slow degeneration of the protagonist was the film's saving grace. At number 29, we have One Battle After Another, and a lot of people love this one. It just did not stick with me. Leonardo DiCaprio's acting, of course, is amazing in this. That was never a question. But I just hate when a film just preaches to me the entire time with no subtlety, and it's just very matter of fact. This is what I think. This is what you should think. I just didn't enjoy it. Coming at number 28, we have Anaconda. I do think this film could have used more of its titular Anaconda, but it just feels like it doesn't get much screen time. But the writing was decent, nothing special plot-wise, but it was very funny, and it got me a couple times. It got me giggling a couple times. Coming in at number 27, we have Die My Love. An insanely convoluted movie, but it was by design, I believe. I cannot tell you verbatim what happened in this film, but we do have a very unreliable narrator in the shape of Jennifer Lawrence. The colors of this movie go crazy, very deep greens and deep blues, and Jennifer Lawrence had an amazing performance. At number 26, we have Jurassic World Rebirth. I enjoyed what this film did plot-wise, separated a large group into almost two separate experiences, the family side and the mercenary side, giving us two forms of survival on the island. But the D-Rex was criminally underused, and so was the mutation idea itself. And coming at number 25, we have Housemaid, an enjoyable run-of-the-mill thriller and an interesting twist, somewhat faithful to the source material, but lover or hater, Sydney Sweeney does not have a good performance in this. But I enjoyed the narrative overall. Coming at number 24, we have The Phoenician Scheme. As usual, Wes Anderson's style remains completely unmatched. Stacked cast, fun performances. The world he crafts is so unique, it's so charming and comedic, with a mix of physical and almost pun-like wit. And there are some just truly beautiful shots in this. At number 23, we have Fantastic Four: First Steps. And I don't think this is a bad film. It fixed a lot of issues Marvel was having at the time, but I think that my love for the franchise is just dwindling over time. I enjoyed the cinematography. The film looked amazing, apart from some wonky CGI here and there, but I think I'm just losing interest in the brand itself and the Marvel machine. At number 22, we have The Naked Gun, a very faithful reimagining paying homage to the original while still having its own identity. While I'm not usually a slapstick comedy fan, there is an undeniable charm to the delivery of the comedy that I found very entertaining. Number 21, we have Opus. This film wears its inspiration on its sleeve, that being Midsommar. John Malkovich gives a flamboyant performance that is very memorable. The original songs for this film are really good and make Malkovich and the world seem a lot deeper. And breaking into our top 20 with number 20, we have another hot take, Until Dawn. I didn't think that this is a bad film. If it had a different title and maybe didn't force the antagonists into the plot, this film would have been a lot better received. I like this movie a lot. It was scary in some parts, and it was just super fun. Coming at number 19, we have Thunderbolts. I enjoyed the diversion of the Marvel formula a lot. A very welcome change. All characters felt important. A very tight-knit group. Likeable protagonists along with a dangerous antagonist. The subversion from the formula worked very well in my opinion. At number 18, I have Superman. Perhaps my biggest disappointment of the year. I love the colors and Corn Sweat's version of Superman, but Superman in this just got his ass handed to him the entire film, and I'm going to leave it there because I have a whole rant about it in this video. And coming at number 17, I have K-Pop Demon Hunters. Just because it's popular to dislike something doesn't make it inherently bad. I do hate how brain rot associated this film has become, but it's got a lot of catchy music, very unique antagonists. I love the idea of the K-pop boy band Soul Eaters. Beautiful animation, bright, flashy, everything you'd expect from this kind of work. At number 16, I have Predator, Killer of Killers. While yes, I think it did have a weak segment or two, the sword portion was so good that it carries the film very heavily, and it really flushed out the Yautja culture way better than Badlands did, and with way less time. At number 15, we have Good Boy, the only film to get tears out of me this year, and extremely unique premise, complemented by a small cast and very good dog acting. While extremely depressing throughout, it remains somewhat touching. At number 14, I have Five Nights at Freddy's 2. No clue why this is getting so much hate at the moment. This film is infinitely more frightening than the first. While maybe not completely a one-for-one lore-wise, the animatronics look straight out of the games. And everything to do with the marionette was super scary. At number 13, I have Bring Her Back, a spiritual successor to Talk to Me. I adored the dialogue in this, realistic and gritty, truly encapsulating the fear of their situation, and I'm super excited to see more from the Rocket guys. Coming at number 12, we have Warfare, a grounded, almost behind-the-scenes point of view of a platoon. This film shows us how quickly things can go wrong and depicts it in terrifying detail. A true story directed by one of the soldiers who lived it. It's very realistic. And at number 11, we have Final Destination Bloodlines. This is easily my favorite Final Destination film. The intro alone just cements itself. So much gore, so many fun kills, and the family tree aspect just adds a whole other layer to the death's design. And in our top 10, we have number 10, which is Eddington. Probably Ari Aster's most calm film. It's comedic, dry, and dramatic. With a dime-turn tonal shift, this film has no heroes. Then at number 9, we have Smashing Machine, Dwayne Johnson's magnum opus. He is borderline unrecognizable, truly disappearing into this role. This film portrays heartbreak and addiction very well, and it really makes you feel for the characters. And I really hope The Rock pursues this path going forward in his career. Coming at number 8, we have The Monkey, a different spin on the Final Destination formula. This film's gore and dark humor made it super enjoyable for me. I wasn't expecting there to be as much comedy as there was, but it was a very pleasant surprise and a super memorable, chaotic ending. Number 7, we have Wake Up Dead Man, a Knives Out mystery. This is probably my favorite of the Knives Out trilogy. The worlds that they portray are just so vibrant. This mystery was so compelling with an unexpected revelation. Protagonist was genuinely such a good person that it improved him as a character. Religious manipulation, self-sacrifice, false prophets. I can't wait for another Knives Out. At number 6, we have The Long Walk, a brutal dystopian film showing the dangers of totalitarian control. And the camera does not shy away from violence either. We see almost every gut-wrenching kill. And the very good character development just makes that aspect hit that much harder. Coming at number 5, we have Together. I had this a bit higher on my list earlier in the year. While I adore the eldritch angle and the body horror on display, the tonal switch from very effective horror to quippy moments bumped it down a little bit. The first half of this film is genuinely some of the most terrifying moments from films that I've watched, especially this year. And that's why it has such a high spot on the list. I loved everything about this except for that weird tonal shift. At number 4, we have Frankenstein, perhaps the most beautifully shot film I've seen this year. The gothic ambiance oozes Del Toro, an amazing, passionate adaptation, including just enough additions to make the story his own. The use of color, acting, and set deck come together to make a wonderful piece of art. And coming in our number 3 spot, we have Weapons. While not the scariest film of the year per se, the more I think about this film, the more I appreciate it. It still has more than its fair share of creepy moments and jump scares. The non-linear narrative tells a story in a fun way, showing us information while still keeping us in suspense. All around, very good performances, and the birth of an iconic antagonist. This film no doubt deserves the top 3 spot. And it was very close between my top 2 for who's number 1, but coming in at number 2 is Begonia. A film that I enjoyed so much that I made a whole video dedicated to it. A story that keeps you guessing until the very end, tackling unchecked mental health as well as some trauma. A small, tight cast with no weak links, along with limited locations that further lets the acting shine. The score is so prominent and grand, constantly building to crescendo to match the plot. Definitely my favorite Yorgos Lanthimos film, no doubt, but there is one thing that beat it out this year. And coming at number 1, we have Sinners. While not only having my favorite performances of the year, they also give us my favorite soundtrack, as well as antagonist. 2025 was the year of dual performances, but Michael B. Jordan's performance just breathes so much life into this film. And in turn, bringing his twin characters to life, as if they were 2 separate entities. The music is so perfectly integrated into the story as to not disrupt the flow of the plot. Remick is such an intimidating force, yet has his own story to warrant empathy. All these things come together along with interesting side characters and stunning cinematography to make this film what it is. And what it is a showpiece in filmmaking and my number 1 pick for the movie of the year.